Today I'm going to show you how I turned these into this. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Emma and I've been making content here on YouTube for about, oh, Christ knows, like 5 years or something, maybe longer. I'm big into collage art and I also happen to be a professional freelance writer and music journalist. So when my job as music editor at a witchy magazine came to a close, I thought I would start my own. So I launched this cute little zine called Earwyrm to focus on occult music and arts. And I basically made this with no design experience whatsoever. The only thing I have is a love of collage, a love of art, and skills in writing. So I thought I would show you how to make a zine, or at least how I made mine, because I had to get really scrappy. I thought I would be able to make collage pieces, scan them using my computer, using my printer scanner, and go from there, creating entire layouts in this just a standard art book. I chose a ring binder so I could have it flat and scan the pages, and I would craft all of the layouts in these pages, and that turned out not to be viable. So I'm going to show you how I made this. I'm going to start with just a quick little tour of it. This issue is kind of scuffed up, very loved. It's the only copy that I have. All of the stock is with my printer that makes it. They store it for me, they pick it, they pack it. They have all of them apart from this one, which is mine. And yeah, just a little tour of what it looks like. I'm not going to show you every page, obviously, because people pay good money to get this, so I don't want to reveal everything that they paid money to receive. But yeah, this is her. 40 pages, uncoated paper, A5 size, saddle stitch, very nice. So this is the final result. This is the first issue. I have just, at the time of filming this, the second issue has just been completed and is going through its final checks before I send it to the printer to be hopefully available for purchase by the end of January, or at least the very first week of February. So I can show you what the first one looks like and then we'll look at the second one. And first I'm going to show you basically what my actual art looks like and then how I've had to adapt it for this. I think the best examples of my art style are my Filofax cover pages that I make. I laminate them myself. Sorry, that's my cat. So these kind of little kind of bits and bobs that I make for my Filofax are a fairly accurate representation of my art style. I think I've got other ones back here as well. So that's what I kind of usually go for. And I've got a few more from old Filofaxes just here. So you can see they are very intricate. They take a couple of hours to do. And let me just show you. That was last year's. I think that's one of my favourites, actually. It's so big that I can't fit it into binder rings. I have to use this. I actually think that this one, actually no, I like them all. Damn, I drink my own Kool-Aid, to be honest, folks. I really love my own artwork. But you kind of have to, really, don't you? So yeah, that's my preferred style. Very intricate, layered pieces that take me a good couple of hours to do. And I'm using assets from magazines, My favorites are Rock and Roll Bride, I use Vogue, and I love interior design magazines and stuff. And what I'll do is basically harvest all the bits I like and keep them in here, because otherwise I end up with tons of magazines. So I tear out entire pages. Some of this actually is from the zine, and I've saved the pieces, and I'll show you why and how. But yeah, I save them in here so that I can like look through and see what I want. And then I have a whole chunky folder basically full of paper samples, little knickknacks that I've saved, just anything that I think I can tear up and use, I will save. I also got a paper marbling kit for my birthday, and these are not very good first efforts, I have to say. They are not good. I'm struggling to get the formula at the correct density to hold the ink, the various color of ink. And sometimes it's so dense, as you can see here, that it leaves horrible marks on the paper. But marbled paper has been an incredibly important tool for the zine, as I'll show you later. So yeah, I just collect bits and bobs in here. And then we come to this. So this is a horrible mess, and it's not going to make any sense until you see how I put them into layouts. What you're going to see are pieces, like pages that I have used my stamper on and ripped out, actual things that I've done at Sketchbook Club, and I've used some of them in the zine. Things like this, loose pieces of paper. This is the cover image that I made. Where's the issue? Here. And what's interesting about this is I made this, one of the first things I did for the zine was this, and I did photocopy it. And as you can see, it's come out really, really poor quality because my scanner is not a very good scanner. So I quickly learned that that was not going to work. And for that reason, you'll see little bits like this, which I'm just basically sticking down into the book, like this, like these, like I've painted these just in the book so that they're all in one place, like this, and I photograph them, and then I upload them to Canva, and I strip out the background, and then I can change the size of the picture, manipulate the colors, and drag it around in the layout. And ultimately, that is, I've realized that for what I want to do, that's the best way. So for the winter issue, I wanted to do a collage technique that I discovered in this book. I'll see if I can actually find it. Oh, is this it? Yeah. Papercraft collages, basically layering cutouts behind and in front of your images. And I thought for winter, for the winter issue, it would be so cool to make these kind of like cutouts. I haven't done cutouts like this in a really long time, but basically I cut them out, put them on this black background, photographed them, uploaded the photograph to Canva, stripped out the background, and then I have this as an asset that I can layer in front or behind, change the size. Because it's white, I can change the color using different filters. Here is some artwork that I did for the front cover of issue 2, which I'll show you in a minute. I knew that I wanted a tree, and so I kind of had a couple of goes at that. And what's nice about this is when I photographed it and uploaded it, stripped out the background, and then as well as using this for the cover, I was able to kind of use parts of the tree to embellish other layouts in the zine. So I'm just coming in here kind of painting little things, using my stampers to stamp little things. I've designed a sigil there. I'm just kind of using this to experiment and create assets. See, this is my rune background that I used for the Coven interview. I don't know if you can see it, it's very, very faint. And eventually I ended up doing it, where are you, dick? I ended up doing it on a black background in the end, this, uploading that to Canva, and then setting it as the background to the interview, but doubling it to create almost like a faded image. I think it came out really well. So basically the sketchbook, rather than becoming a home for cut and paste static layouts, it actually became a home for the assets that I want to use to embellish the zine. So now that I've showed you the raw kind of assets, as it were, in the form of, you know, my pieces of paper and pieces I've cut out, I'm sure that you'll definitely recognize this guy. This is the skull from the earworm logo, and I basically like ripped its head open, put it against a black background, and then I used my marble paper to make worms. I kind of staged it like that loosely so that I could move it around and adjust it, and I took a ton of photos of it, and then I manipulated the colours in the photos so that I have kind of infinite versions of my own logo. And what's really nice about that is I didn't have to think too hard or try too hard to make it happen. It just came out like that. So yeah, now that I've showed you what it looks like on paper, literally, I'm going to show you how I do it digitally and some of the mistakes I made, and basically, yeah, how you could do it too, but better. And also be aware the quality of the video is going to go down because I'm going to be screen recording. So soz, see you in a sec. All right, it's been a hot minute since you've seen my face. Oh my god, the cat has literally... You coming in? You better not be a problem. You better not be a problem, mate. She's going to be a problem. She's definitely going to be a problem. Right, so we're in Canva, and that is because I don't know how to use InDesign or any other tools that you would probably ideally be using to make a zine. You're either doing cut and paste and using a photocopier to make printers spreads, which you are effectively then going to fold yourself, staple yourself, assemble yourself, all DIY in one big spread, or you're going to be designing it in double page spreads in something like InDesign or whatever, so that you can provide it to your printer as spreads. They're printing it as spreads, and then they're going to boff. I don't have those skills. I used to work for a print company for a good many years. In fact, I've worked for 4 print companies in my professional career, and I am still not a designer. So I've used Canva, and I was very lucky to find a couple of printers who specialised in zines that were happy to accept my zine file as running order pages with crop and bleed added on as a Canva file. Now obviously I am saving the files as print ready PDFs with CMYK color settings, Most printers will ask you for that, and it's just something you've got to... Are you kidding me? Are you done? Are you going to leave? Yeah? If I shut this door and you kick off again... Oh my god, you're worse than the fucking rum-tum tugger, mate. I was lucky enough to find a printer who would accept a Canva file. Unfortunately, Canva has an error. Although you can export your print-ready PDF in CMYK with crop and bleed added, the good thing about Canva is that it will add an extra crop and bleed, and your bleed around the edge of the page is white, which is what everybody wants from bleed. If you're not from a print background and you don't understand what that means, crop are basically the crop marks in the corners of the page so that the printer knows where they are slicing. And they do this because when you're printing a saddle stitched brochure, you're laying the pages flat like this, stapling them, and then folding them over to create the booklet. But when you fold it like this, the outside pages have a lot more paper to wrap around than the inside pages, which means you get creep, where the pages poke out along the center in the middle, because the center pages are just folded flat and the outer pages are folded around all of the inner pages. So they need to trim the edges to get a nice clean look on the booklet. So that's a couple of millimeters, right? So ideally when you're designing in a print file, I'm getting really into the weeds of it here, but if you want to make your own zine, you do need to know this. This kind of little line around the edge here is supposedly my bleed. And what you can see here from the size of the file is that I've taken an A5 size and then I've added the bleed on top of that so that my printer can measure their own, when they're imposing the files ready to print, they're adding that crop mark on for me, because Canva fucks it up basically. But this is my guideline. Nothing can really, in an ideal world, go outside of this dotted line, because let's not forget, when we're folding the booklet, the inner part of the page is going to be too close to the fold and the outer part could be cropped off, right? So you really want to keep it within this box, and ideally nothing outside of the bleed. And when you're designing, you want your bleed to be the background extended, so that when the bleed kind of, when they're cropping it, it moves ever so slightly. It's never going to be exactly precisely 2 millimeters or 3 millimeters or whatever. Sometimes it's going to be slightly more, sometimes slightly less. And if you've got a white border, if it's slightly less or slightly, yeah, if it's slightly less, you've got white lines around the edge of your artwork, and you don't want that if that's not what you want. So what we're doing here is making sure that our background extends all the way out. Oh, what's that? You don't need to see me anymore, motherfucker. You can see here, this is the file, this is the background. It extends all the way out here, to make sure that when they trim it looks nice, basically. Now, for the reasons why I am using a notebook to make all my own assets, you can't use other people's things. There's a thing called trademark infringement. So it's better to err on the side of caution and make all your own assets. Ideally, it would be your own artwork, your own photographs, things that you have made, because you don't want to get sued for using other people's images. And that is another reason why I don't use my artwork the way that I would normally do it, because I'm using other people's images from their magazines, their photo shoots, and I don't want to get bitch slapped with legals. So I thought, you know, I'm going to do my own thing. I also pay for Canva Premium or whatever it's called. And as long as you are
editing the images as part of your own piece of art, you can use their images in your art. So anything that I don't have or can't get, I'll search for in Elements and use in my design alongside my own things. So here you can see my tree. I hesitate to touch it because this hasn't been sent to the printer yet, but here it is, background removed. Is that perfectly in the center? Yes, it is. And yeah, if you look in Elements, no, Uploads, you will see there's my tree. That's the page. I uploaded it, stripped the page out, and here we are. I was also careful again to use Canva Premium because this font that I've chosen for my font it's not royalty free, but I think that Canva has paid a license that allows me to use it for commercial purposes. So that's that. Now let's look at my editor's note, because this is another really good example of how everything has come together. This background is one of my own original marbled pages, and what I have done is, oh, I haven't added a filter, good for me. I'll either use a filter or I'll use duotone to manipulate the colours. So really all I need is a couple of different marble paper effects that I have made, and I can make it whatever colour I want, and I can change the levels of the colours here and even switch out what the colours are, which is fantastic. What was it? What did I have on sepia? Yeah, fucking hell, that was close, wasn't it? This here is a stamper that I did. I bought these stamps. Here's what it looks like. You saw it in my sketchbook. I bought a stamp, just one square stamp, from the charity craft shop in my town for like £1, and I kind of made a little design with it, and then I've popped it back here. I've turned the transparency of it down so it's not dominating, and I've just popped it back here. This frame is another stamp that I bought from the charity shop, and I've just used it there. You saw this in my notebook, and I've basically used background remover to get rid of the paper, and then I've used duotone to create my own colour so that this matches the artwork on the page opposite. And that's just a photo of me. This is a little design that I did in my sketchbook when I was at Sketchbook Club. I'd finished drawing the theme for that club that day, and I decided just to do some little squiggles. I think you probably did see them in my notebook. And then I've replicated this, flipped some of them, twisted some of them, and just layered them behind here. So these are all lots of little different bits and bobs and elements. Creating this zine has now become less of what I would normally do, which is having my page, layering lots of found things down and creating an image from that, to basically having a magpie's eye for the types of textures and elements and things that I think will fit the theme of the issue, and storing them, taking photos, manipulating them, changing the size, layering them. It's become a hybrid of physical art and digital collage, which has really kind of given me infinite possibilities. But it's challenging. So these paper pieces, these frames and little bits, this is all from just elements in Canva. I just searched for piece of card, ripped piece of paper, and then I take them and I always make sure to add a little bit of a drop shadow. So you can do that in Edit and Effects, Shadows, and then I add a drop shadow, usually 12%, just to make it look like it's layered down on the page. This is the sigil that I designed for the issue because I want to make sure that we've got a mix of assets from within Canva's library and things that I have made myself. It needs to feel like I made it, but I did make it, but it needs that handmade element, things that you can't find anywhere else. I could make this whole thing from elements from within Canva because they've got so much stuff, but I want it to be unique. These are some stars that I painted in acrylic in my notebook, and I scanned them in and laid them up here. So yeah, it just gives you a little idea of what we're up to here. Now we come to another interesting page that I don't mind to show you. So this is a perfect example of me getting multiple use out of my assets. So this is a piece of my own washi tape that I wrote on. I used it for the first issue. If I can find the page. There. And I've reused it here. I've just popped it was either a filter or a duotone on it. One of the two. Yeah, I've added a duotone, so I've just changed the colour of that to make it fit with this. These are some snowdrops from my garden that I pressed in my flower press last year, and I thought that they'd just be really nice in here, and they are. And this, I've grouped them together, so I'm not going to drag them around and fuck about with the format, but this is the paper star that I showed you, and I've just popped it in here, added a shadow underneath, tweaked the colour ever so slightly so it's not white, and then what I've done is I've taken my tree painting and used the roots and kind of multiplied that and layered it all the way around the outside, so we get this really cool kind of layered gothic effect. And I have just found paper in Canva elements, just a piece of paper to have as the background, so we've got a bit more texture. Now what you'll notice as well, and this is a hard learned fucking lesson, I create playlists for each of the zines so that I can feature the artists that I've interviewed and also kind of gather some others together to create a playlist for that season, for that vibe. And in this first issue, I wrote it in ink pen on a piece of paper and scanned it, well, photographed it, so it was handwritten. And the issue with that is if you want to make any changes to your playlist, you have to painstakingly write out 20 tracks again, photograph them and scan them in, and that's a pain in the ass. Moreover, if you've made a spelling error on any of the artists' names or you've incorrectly capitalized something, it's just a pain in the ass. So for this issue, I've just written them. Yeah? And I think that's how I'm going to do it going forward. And again, I've just added a little piece of washi tape, changed that. This is something I painted, and this moon and this child are from just found in the Canva library, and I've just added a little bit of a filter on them, put a drop shadow behind them and layered them up. I think it looks really cool. Now for this interview, I have used the background, one of my marbled sheets of paper, and again I've just added a duotone on that and changed the opacity on it so that you can read the text. This is neat. This is a... What are you doing? Knobhead. This is a stamper, a rubber stamp of some trees, like a tree line that I got from the charity shop for a couple of quid. And I've just gone down the edge. It's actually full trees with grass. If I had it, I'd show it to you. But I've just done the tops of them just down the side of the page, photographed the page, and then used Canva to manipulate the colours. Oh my god, the cat. Do you know what? We've had a really lucky streak of filming videos with no cat interference. Ever since my poor Arwen passed away, she was the primary culprit of interrupting my videos. Isabeau normally doesn't give a shit until now. So I love that for us. Yeah, these are just some little acrylic painted twigs that I did. And I actually didn't really have a plan for those. I just thought I would paint some cool gothic looking tree shapes, and I was like, I'll find a use for them, and sure enough I did. And just like these pages, I like to have unique backgrounds for my spreads, things that give colour and interest to the background but still a very handmade feel. And for me, rubber stamps and marble paper are the top two for that. I find them to be so effective because they give that interest and that colour and that texture, but it's mine and I made it, and I can't be slapped with any kind of copyright shit. So basically that is how I've done it. I've combined physical art with digital collage techniques and what I know about designing for print, and I've combined it all here in Canva and basically made my own 40-page zine, and this is how I've done it. I like to think I've been quite thorough in talking you through this, but maybe I haven't. So if you have any questions, you can ask me in the comments below. I think that one of the most important factors is knowing the physicality of the zine, knowing about paper and paper weight and the finish of the paper. For example, mine is an uncoated paper, and I wanted the cover to be really thick and the pages to feel thick. I wanted it to feel premium even though it's uncoated paper, and I specifically wanted it to be uncoated paper so that people could cut it out, collage with it. There's actually, in this first issue, there is a page where you can cut things out and make your own artwork with it. So I wanted it to be fit for the inside of someone's journal or something. The same with this back page. I just included some of my marble paper so that people can use that in their collage. But I also have a colouring page designed by one of the young writers that I mentor, Yasmin Bly Hassan. She was kind enough to design this. I said I wasn't commissioning anything for this and I was going to do it all myself. She got very excited when I asked her to contribute some artwork. She ended up designing something completely from scratch, and I couldn't not pay her for it because as her mentor, that would be shitty of me. So I wanted uncoated paper because I want people to be able to colour on it, write on it, cut it out, use it, compost it, like recycle it. That's all part of the ethos. So a lot of thought and effort went into paper weight, paper type, paper finish, the type of binding. Should it feel like a zine? Do I want it ring bound so it can lay flat? How will people be using it? What's it for? What's the purpose? And coming from a print background, that really did help me. I think somewhere in this drawer, somewhere, I have a paper picker. I have a paper picker because I used to work in the print industry, so I have all of my different finishes and weights here, and I could really feel them and refamiliarize with myself with the experience that I was creating. So that's one really big consideration. What kind of what's the experience that you want to give, and how does that play with your artwork? Because remember, uncoated paper absorbs ink, so it gives a flatter, softer finish to your artwork, whereas a paper that's gloss or satin, because it's coated, especially a gloss paper, will really make your colours pop and feel really saturated and rich and luxurious because you've got that coating on top of it. So it really depends on what kind of experience you want to give and how your artwork will interact with the page, but also the printer that you work with. I'm very lucky that I am good friends with Sophie Cross, who until very recently was the founder and editor of Freelancer magazine. She's no longer the editor, she stepped back to do other things. I've gone on a massive tangent, but basically Sophie put me onto her printer and they've been really, really good to me. They can integrate with Shopify and with Squarespace, so they're basically taking the orders directly from my website into their fulfillment center and taking care of it for me. I think I'm probably going to take that in-house, because when I launched I wasn't sure how strong demand would be. When I made my initial TikTok about starting this zine, I had like hundreds of people saying that they were interested in it, and obviously like I knew hundreds of people were not going to buy it. I work in marketing, like I'm not jaded, but I set up a newsletter for the zine to gauge how many people were interested enough to take an action. So that helped me gauge demand. And then I was like, I'm going to hand it over to them to take care of initially. And now I've decided that demand isn't so crazy that I can't actually fulfill these orders myself. So after issue 2 has come out, I'm going to probably be taking that back and handling it all myself, which will be fun, I think. But yeah, the printer that you choose is so important because they are handling your artwork. They are creating the finished piece. You have to trust them, and you have to know that they are going to be able to help you as much as you need to be helped. Like I am from a print background, so I have come into this with some knowledge, but I also knew that this is not how you set up artwork for print. It can be quite complicated. I actually did make a paper mock-up and label all the pages so that I could see what was what. But luckily I found a printer that allowed me just to do it like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in running order, thank God. But that's if you're not proficient in using design software, definitely look for a printer who can help you with your artwork files. And if something's not right, they can flag it and they can talk you through how to remedy it. But that's really my only advice. Definitely think about the format that you're printing in, and definitely choose your printer wisely depending on your experience level and how much you're comfortable doing yourself and how big you think the project's going to be. But yeah, altogether I think that this, for me, this is the best way to do it. I wanted to be able to manipulate the images, drag them around, move them, change my mind, tweak things, rather than just try to make it all on a page, scan it, and then it's done. Because then if you want to make changes, you are fucked. So if you're just doing artwork, that's perfect. If you're doing something like I am, where it requires copy, and you're working with other people's images that they're sending you, then that's a little bit more tricky. I hope this was helpful in illuminating. And yeah, you can find Earwyrm at earwyrm-zine.co.uk. And hopefully by the time you're watching this, issue 2 will be out and available to buy, and you've got the option to buy it print or just the digital download. It costs slightly less and you get it sooner, but the physical copies are so nice, and I make them with a view, as I said, that you can get involved with them, cut them out, use them, make your own art from them, and then you send me pictures of the art you've made, and then you get featured in the Pass the Mic section yourself. But yeah, if you want to know anything more about launching a zine as well, let me know. I can't say that I've done it well, but I also haven't done a shit job, so if you want a mediocre approach to launching a zine, I'm the one you want to talk to. Take care, and I'll catch you in the next one.